Hello. Hi, Paulina. Hi, you guys. Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday. Can you guys hear me? I'm outside, but I have these little earpod things in. Hi. Hi, Heidi. I felt called to jump on and connect with everybody. Hi, Alice. Hi, Brenda. Where are you guys from? Hi, Richard. I just felt like there's so much going on around the world, and I would really love to just connect with as many humans as possible right now. Feel into the energy. How are you guys doing? Hi, sweetie Gigi. How is everyone, and where are you guys from? Austin, Texas, Toronto, Pure Lynn. How is it in Toronto, Colorado, London, Los Gatos? So how are you guys doing? How's everyone feeling? I've been having these moments of lightness where my body feels really, really light. And then moments of super heaviness where my body just feels so, so heavy. A lot of heaviness. And continuing to learn how to move through both of those states within my physical body. It feels very physical for me right now. We underestimate the power of our bodies and the vessel and vehicle that our body is, what it's designed to do. The body is literally designed to walk us through this energetic world, right? Walk us through this energetic field that we're in as a consciousness. So the body's holding our consciousness. We are consciousness. And we're navigating an entire energetic field. So it's pretty intense when you start thinking about what's going on right now, especially if you realize, or if you actually visualize, that we're all standing literally in a collective shadow. So like a storm almost, right? And your body's feeling it, which means you're feeling it. So it's a lot. It's a lot that we're going through right now. Both in beautiful ways, right? Really beautiful experiences that a lot of us are having. And really intense things that a lot of us are experiencing. Massive shifting. But it's learning, at least for myself, it's learning how to navigate these times without giving it power, without feeling like a victim, without perpetuating the shadow that we're in, and without ignoring the fact that we're in a shadow, that every country is going to be navigating this shadow differently, right? Yeah, it's exhilarating and exhausting. And it's all for our highest good. That's the craziest piece about this evolution that we're going through right now, is that it is literally pulling us, dragging us, perhaps, through a natural process of evolution. This is what it looks like to evolve. This is what it looks like when consciousness evolves, when energy evolves, which is what we are, and it's what we're in. It just looks physical. And so you see all these physical things occurring, always giving us an opportunity or an ability to choose. It's always a choice. It's always a choice. How you want to, the state of your consciousness, the state of your awareness, the state of your being. Every single moment is a choice, right? It's always a choice. How are you supposed to be feeling physically? There's no such thing as supposed to, right? The only thing you're supposed to do is just be in the experience that you're in right now, whatever that is, without attachment and without judgment, as often as you can. So how can you be in you and your experience in your life without judging it, without attaching to it, without holding an expectation? Because the more you can do that, the easier you will navigate this, and the more you will feel free. You won't feel trapped. You won't feel confined. You won't feel restricted, right? Regardless of what's going on. Yeah, what about the pets? Are they okay? The pets are good. Pets are really good. Um, you know, there's a lot of light that Canada is holding right now. There's a lot of light that Australia is holding. There's a lot of light that these countries are holding right now. I want you to imagine that, everything's energy, right? Everything's consciousness. And so if you can imagine that the role that your physical body is playing is to hold consciousness, hold light. Consciousness is light. So if you think about what your role, quote unquote, role is here right now, there's many different roles that you're playing, and one of them is to hold light. And light has the ability to dissolve fear. Light has the ability, this is just energy, this is just physics, this is just how energy works, right? Light has the ability to dissolve that which is in a shadow, or that which is in a lower state of consciousness. And so if you recognize that your body literally is an energetic force walking around in an energetic world designed to dissolve the shadow that you're standing in, then there is a huge amount of light in Canada. There's a huge amount of light in Australia. There's a huge amount of light in France. There's a huge amount of light in Germany. There's a huge amount of light in the United States. There's a huge amount of light in South Africa, every other country. Why is there so much light? Because your body, and those that are continuing to courageously move themselves into these higher states of consciousness or more awareness, the observer, your body is holding more light. All of you that are courageously looking at the shadow within you, it's allowing your body to hold more light. What happens when you hold more light? You're able to assist in dissolving the shadow. What does that look like to dissolve the shadow? It means that you're not participating in fear. Why are you not participating in fear? Because you can see the fear because of the light that you're holding. That's awakening. There's so much light that you're holding that you can't see, that you don't understand. But when you look out into the world, you're able to shine the light into the shadow, which is the fear, and you're not playing in it. You're not participating in it. You're choosing what is for your highest good, your highest potential. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of humans that are doing this right now, so there is a ton of light. Here's the problem that humans have. They believe that the shadow is overshadowing the light. And why do humans believe that? Because when you are in density, density feels heavier than light. Okay? So density feels like it's consuming or it's taking over. It's, I don't even want to say the word winning, right? But the shadow feels so heavy at times. That's only because it's denser, meaning it's in a lower frequency. It's in a lower frequency. It's spinning slower. So it feels heavier, like more of a blanket. Light, higher frequency light is higher. Shadow is still light. It's just a lower frequency light, so it feels denser. So we tend to believe that, the world's going to hell in a handbasket, and that's not the case. That's not the case at all. It's just that the density and the shadow is what we're feeling the most of right now because it is so heavy. It's very, very heavy. It's like if you had a sheet on you and a blanket on you, right? Both of them are on you, but you're going to feel the blanket more than the sheet, right? Because the blanket's heavier. But you have to remember the role that you're playing, the role that your body's playing, right? And you have to remember how free you are, no matter what country you're in right now. I've said this many, many times, but your state of consciousness is your freedom. Your choice is your freedom, even though you may be in countries right now where you're like, yeah, I don't feel like I have choice. We always have choice. We have choice in how we want to be. Always, no matter what. We have choice in how we want to be. And that is our greatest gift, right? And so the power or empowerment that you can hold for yourself in every now moment is you can't take away my beingness. You can't take that away from me. No one can take that away from me. No one. Right? And some of us may have to get to that place where all we have left is our beingness, right? And some of us may never have to get to that place. But when you think about evolution and human consciousness, when you think about what it means to evolve, you literally have to step out of victimhood and enslavement, being imprisoned, being mind controlled, being programmed, being manipulated, living in lack, living in greed, living in fear. These are all consciousnesses that have controlled humanity for thousands of years. And so if you think about what it means to evolve, it means that we step out of those consciousnesses. And that's really what we're doing right now. People will be, humanity is going to be jaw dropped when things start to unravel and the shadow is really seen. Shadow hasn't been seen yet. We haven't seen the shadow really. Not really. It's like we've just cracked the opening of it, right? It's baby steps for humanity, because humanity would probably have a nervous breakdown if they really understood the shadow. And so we have to be gentle with humanity as we walk through this shadow. And the shadow the human collective shadow is like a roller coaster ride. It's not like everything's going to open all at once and all of a sudden we're going to see everything and it's like, oh my God, this is what we've been in. It's not going to be like that. It's going to be a slow movement of being able to settle into this, and then have these moments where there's massive shifting, where there's a lot of change and there's a lot of heaviness, and then you feel lighter, right? And there's lightness that comes in. You're like, oh my God, I can't survive this. This is going to be okay. And then there's another dip, another heaviness that comes in, right? And then it gets a little bit lighter. So every single day is a training. That's how I see it. Every day is a training for us to perfect our state of beingness, to perfect it. And, one of the biggest keys that I could say is, or one of the biggest gifts that I think that we can offer for ourselves, is to stay in the presence of what we're in right now, not trying to predict or trying to figure out what's coming or how to get through it. Because if you try to predict what's coming, if you try to figure out what's coming, you're first of all, you're missing the point, which is you're here to evolve. You're here to quote unquote sort of train yourself how to be in all of this and not try to bypass out of it. So the presence, your now moment is all you have. That's it. Right here, right now is all you have. So how are you being in this now? How are you treating other people? How are you treating yourself? If you try to look in the future and say, oh my God, what's coming? How am I going to get through this? What do I need to prepare for? Right? You're never going to be able to prepare. Here's a little side note from the quantum universe, from the quantum field, little pop in from the quantum field. You're never going to be able to predict what's coming. You can be present and prepare at the same time, but you're never going to be able to prepare for what's coming because you have no idea what's coming. Nobody has any idea what's coming. Nobody. So you can try to figure out what's coming, and maybe you can predict aspects of what might be coming. The other thing about preparing for what might be coming is you don't know what state of consciousness you're going to be in when whatever comes. The only thing you need to prepare for is your own beingness. That's it. Prepare you by mastering how to stand in all of this. That's it. That's it. And you'll be taken care of. You won't be in fear. You won't be, if you know how to master your own state of being, you're good. And see, humans don't understand that because they've never done it. So they have doubt. They don't trust it. They don't trust it, And there's no ships showing up. No galactic ships are going to come down and save us. No one's saving us. No politician is saving us. No system, no government, no non-profit, nobody's saving us but us. That's what people don't understand. Each human is saving each human. Each human body is saving the human collective. And saving isn't even the right word. It's evolving, right? So every human body has the opportunity in every freaking moment to evolve out of this nonsense, right? To evolve out of it by choosing not to play in it, choosing to allow people to have free will and freedom, choosing what narrative you're going to buy into. Is this narrative about divide, right? Or is this narrative about inclusiveness? Choose. And the more that we actually choose, the more that we understand that our individual voice matters, our individual choice matters, it matters massively, we'll be able to shift this a lot quicker. Because when other things come down the pike, we'll be ready. Because we practiced in every now moment, right? We practiced how to do this, how to navigate this. Yeah, you evolve humanity by evolving yourself. Think about the energy that it takes to figure out a future, or prepare for a future. It's a lot of energy. And it absolutely takes you out of the present moment. It takes you out of the gift, right? It takes you out of this. You know, humans want answers. They want quick fixes. Somebody take me out of this. Somebody tell me what to do. We don't understand that everything's right here. It's the scariest thing to think about, that everything's right here. That everything is within myself. That's it. And because most of us haven't been able to figure out how to do that, how to go in and how to sit with ourselves and how to master ourselves, we are still controlled or being played by the external world. It's so fascinating what's happening. And the way that you get in touch with this, right, with me, my soul, my spirit, my light, my essence, my consciousness, my breath, the way I get in touch with this is I'm silent. I stop. I don't distract myself. I mean, I have a very simple, boring life. Boring is not a bad thing, but I have a very simple life, so I have the ability to do it much more often than other people. But the way that you get through this and the way that you choose, the way that you create freedom, the way that you step out of victimhood and being controlled and fear, is that you come back into you. So how often in your day are you listening to you? How often in your day are you not allowing anything external to pull you out of just you? How often in your day are you feeling what feels right to you? How often are you pulled out of your body by someone else or something else, a narrative, a teacher, a parent, a child? How often? The first step to even moving into you so that you can master this game that we're in is that you have to be aware of how often you're not with you, how often you are not quiet, how often you are not feeling your breath, how often you are not listening to you, how often you are constantly pulled externally. Because there's no quick fix. And many of you right now, depending upon what country you're in, you're realizing the importance of this right now. You're realizing the importance of, holy cow, I don't have a lot of freedoms right now. I'm stuck in my house. You know, I'll get a ticket if I go outside my house more than 3 miles. I can let myself spiral into fear, anger, rage. I can spiral into that, or I can figure out how to master this entire game of evolution. And the way you master it is you come into your own physicality, you come into you come into your body, and you realize that you're good. You're good. You've always been good. You got this. You're going to navigate this. You're going to walk through this. You're going to move through this. Nothing's got anything on you. We are the most powerful beings, and we forget that because we're so focused on the external. We're so focused on the external, what people are saying, what narratives that are being thrown at us, what people aren't doing, what people are doing, what they're taking away, what they're giving us, all this nonsense. Learn to walk through all of this as a master. And the way you do that is you go in. We're designed to walk through this as masters, as multidimensional masters, so to speak, right? So that nothing can get you. Nothing. Doesn't matter what they do. Doesn't matter. You're constantly speaking truth. You're constantly following your resonance. Okay, let's bring somebody up on screen real fast. Let's see. let's find, where are you? Okay, Katie. Let's see if Katie's going to jump on. Are you coming, Katie? All right, let's try someone else. Let's see if Nicole.
Hi.
Yay! Is it Nicole or Nicola?
It's Nicole.
Hi, Nicole.
Hi. This is amazing. I knew it. I knew when Katie didn't come. And I was like already like I can't see myself in a mirror, so I can't because there's something popping up in the bottom. So I'm like, I don't know what I look like. I just have this feeling.
You look fabulous, darling. Fabulous.
Thank
Where
you.
where are you?
I'm on the Sunshine Coast in British Columbia.
How is it over there?
Ah, it is what I make it.
All right, I gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's been an incredible journey. And yeah, right now I would say, so for me personally, like everything that you're saying is just practice, and there's a lot of opportunity to practice. um,
Yeah, every day, right? I mean, it's intense. It's intense when your whole life changes and what you thought your life, I mean, it's crazy that life can, for so many of us right now, is not looking like the life we anticipated in 2021, right?
yeah. I totally resonate with your story though, as a 13-year-old girl, not in a way where I can't speak and like hear things as clearly, I guess, the way that you do. But I do remember a moment when I was like, maybe like 5 or 6, being like, I'm ready. I can do it now. And I didn't know what I was ready for. And I remember listening to history and like social studies classes in high school and learning about World War II and being like, darn it, I missed it. I knew I missed the moment. Like it's the wrong lifetime. And then finally at like 33 or whatever, the last couple of years, I'm like, no, I'm here. This is the one.
You didn't miss out.
Yeah.
Here you are. Here you are. And you're in one of the most intense countries right now, right? Also, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. I didn't know I lived in this country. And I grew up like a very, like, I grew up vaccinated, educated, like, Canada. Such a, like, beautiful place to live, and it is, and I'm so grateful. But it's also heartbreaking. And I think that's the part that, like, a lot of people don't, um, when it, like, and I try not, I don't, like, sometimes I've been divisive for sure. It's like, I'm learning, and, like, I'm way better, like, at, like, just letting everyone have their truth. But, like, people don't understand that I'm sad too, like, I got vaccinated my whole life. And whatever, I don't even care. It doesn't even need to get into that. Like, that doesn't matter. That's a detail, whatever. But it's like everything. It's like even like just the indigenous, like it's
It's
so
a lot.
crazy. It's like
It's a lot.
hello. Like, do you not understand? And like I grew up so Ukrainian Catholic, like so Ukrainian Catholic, like church every Sunday, and very devout. And I'm so grateful for Mother Mary because she entered my life when I was young, and I needed to experience that. But like even like my whole family's like so like they can't even see. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God, this is insane. This is insane. I'm one of like 5 kids. They're all older than me. And they're like church every Sunday. And I'm like, when am I going to have that conversation with my sister when I'm like, what do you think? You know, like I notice things now when I look back as like an adult and I look back at scenarios at priests and church and stuff. And I was like, yeah, that did seem weird. And I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm talking about so many things. I
No,
don't
it's
know.
so
I'm just,
one of the reasons that I feel it's so important to kind of connect with everybody is to just show what everyone's going through. It's we're all going through something different, and just because we might not be in Canada doesn't mean that we are not, as one human collective, feeling this,
yeah.
because we are, and we're all going through this in our own way, and we have to give ourselves permission to break down and to mourn and to cry and to say, what the freaking hell is, what, like, that we there's this really interesting balance of, um when you're being pummeled right now, like if you're in Canada or if you're in Australia or these other countries that are really going through it, right? You're literally in a pummel where it's like a wave just hit you guys, okay? And you're still going like this through the wave. You can't get up to catch your air to even be like to even settle, right? So you guys are being pummeled into this evolution where you're being forced to really step into these new states of being that are unfamiliar, and but that is, for whatever reason, that is what is required of your countries right now, is to really learn sovereignty, is to really learn to allow yourself to feel everything. There's no judgment now. I mean, if you're feeling all of this every single day, do you really have the time to judge it? No, you're just trying to survive, right? So you're learning how to not judge anymore, not have an expectation, allow others to have whatever they're having. I mean, think of all the things that you're doing and learning and being without necessarily choosing to. You didn't go to a course, you didn't go to a class, you didn't go to a retreat somewhere, right? You didn't go away for 2 weeks, right? And like pay that $5,000 to learn
Yeah.
these
To be
things.
like, yeah.
Yeah, you're learning it right now in the midst of it, in the pummeling, and in the and that's the greatest gift, and also the greatest kind of curse, because you have to go through it, you have to feel it, you have to experience it, you have to watch it. We have to watch humanity go through this, and so being able to, that's why taking care of yourself is so important, and allowing yourself to just have it all, because it can feel very daunting, and it can feel very heavy, but it's also a process. It's movement, right? Like, it's movement, and we do all end up coming out of that pummeling of the wave. It's just that, who knows what it's going to look like, and who knows how we're going to navigate it, really, and so your ability to choose your state of awareness sometimes is the only thing you have, but it's peace. It's
Yeah.
peace, because when you know that nobody can take that from you, there's a power to that. There's a power in that, and when you feel the way you're feeling right now, at least for myself, when I've been feeling so much lately, so much, so much, and what it's allowing is for my heart to really just break open more for everyone, 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 no matter what they think, what they do, what they're saying, what they're not saying, what they're choosing, what they're not choosing. So the more we are in it, the more we break down, the more our hearts are able to break open, and we're able to really hold that love for ourselves and for others. But I think it's important that everybody understand that, it's there's a lot of people going through a lot of stuff right now, you know, a lot. And the world has always been going through this kind of stuff, but the beautiful piece about what's happening now is that we're all in it together now. We can't turn our backs. We all have to walk each other through this. We all are walking each other through it.
It's like when you're watching a Disney movie and you cry for the character, it allows you to feel it more. And I feel like that's like an opportunity, like where it's like when I like you're, it's such a cool way, because I don't often break down, but like I did now, and that's cool, and like that's what I needed to feel. And now that I feel that, it's easier to be like, well, that's what other people are feeling too. So I can open my heart. I feel
Yeah.
like that's what you're saying. Like,
Yes.
yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, just because everybody may have like a look of like, I've got this, I'm good,
Mm-hmm.
you know, we really don't know how humans are. And so it's okay if we don't feel put together. It's okay if we are not handling this well. It's okay if we literally feel like you know, you're going to have a nervous breakdown at any time. It's okay if you feel anxiety. It's okay whatever we're feeling. It's, I mean, think about it. Move yourself out of the human body for a moment. Just kind of, let's just move out of the world. Let's move off
Okay.
the globe, right?
Okay.
Let's get this higher perspective. And
Yeah.
let's kind of just look at what's happening and what has happened so quickly in less than 2 years. Okay. And for a
Okay.
lot of humans, and you're looking down and you're like, and you're looking down at little Nicole, and there she is in British Columbia, and she had whatever life she had 2 years ago. And here she is now, right? And you visualize that perspective. How would you feel about yourself? You know, from that higher
Yeah.
perspective,
Yeah.
it's like, all you would want to do is be like, girl, you are okay. Like you're give yourself what the fact that you haven't had a nervous breakdown, we're applauding you, right? From this higher perspective. It's
Yeah.
like we are so hard on ourselves, and we're so hard on other humans, but we forget what we're in. We forget, this is why it's so important to kind of get, let's pull
Totally.
ourselves out for a second and get this higher perspective,
Totally.
right? And be like, wait a second, 2 years, let's just go back 2 years, let's just go back, you know, December of 2019 or whatever, and
Yeah.
think about life, and then look at your little body and your little self walking around and doing your thing now, 2 years later, and how you've navigated it and how you've survived and how you have been with yourself, how you've been with other humans. From that perspective, it's like, Jesus, girl, go throw a party for yourself. Like, you know,
Yeah.
that's the perspective we need to have around ourselves and every other human.
Yeah.
We really do, because the entire earth, okay, I want to give you a little vision. This isn't a negative or a dark or fear-based vision. This just is what's happening on the globe.
Yeah.
The entire earth, I want you to imagine everything's energy, right? And so we got shot like out of a cannon, okay, into the whole human collective got shot out of a cannon, and we got thrown into a cloud or a shadow, right, of the human collective. And now we can't get out. There's no escaping. We're in this. The entire earth, all 8 billion humans are in this shadow and all navigating it their own way. And so, from this higher perspective, it's like, what do you need to get through this? Give yourself everything. Give yourself the pizza party. Give yourself the ice cream. Give yourself the cries. Give yourself everything you need, because it's not your fault you're in it.
Yeah.
It's not your fault that you're in this. It's not my fault that I'm in this. It's not anyone's fault. And so now it's a matter of, we got to go through this together. Let's go through this together with an open heart, with compassion and empathy. Let's go through this without divide. Let's go through this without blaming other people. Can we go through this without taking away more human rights? I don't know. We're going to try. We're going to try, right? We're going to try. We're going to try to figure out how to go through this without, you know, I don't know. I don't know how it's going to unravel, but that perspective and that understanding, to really understand from a higher view what's happening here, might be able to kind of lighten the load around how you move forward, how all of us move forward. um, yeah.
It's nice to kind of look back, like you say, in the 2 years and see like where I've navigated in this, and to give yourself that higher perspective for that break, to be like, okay, like I am doing it, like I'm doing this, like I am doing it. Like it's not like I'm not
You
doing
might not want to be doing it. You might
it.
not want to be doing this, right? But you're doing it.
Yeah, totally.
And
Totally. It's cool.
there's an empowerment in that of like, okay, so they
Yeah.
may take away these things from me. These narratives might to me sound absolutely asinine.
Yeah.
Literally,
They're crazy.
I can't.
I call my best friend all the time. I'm
Yeah,
like, it's crazy. Like,
yeah,
how is it? It's insane. Like, I don't like, it's so crazy. Like, the one thing I have this one person in my life who we can go like, how do people not see this? I need to do that sometimes. Sorry. And not in
yeah.
a bad way, but I have to, because I'm like, this is insane. Like, how?
I think it's really important to that, first of all, doing that, but also to really understand, and this is for everyone that's listening right now, to really understand that your voice and your actions matter. Like they really matter. Our what we choose act really matters. What we say matters. Like how we are in this, it really freaking matters. Um, and you know, I've always said this from the beginning of this whole, you know, canon shooting us into the collective, is that it's going to get crazier. It's going to get even crazier and even crazier, because crazy is what awakens humanity. The crazy is what awakens humanity. And so the more we sort of get comfortable with crazy, but we continue to speak our truth, but we continue to do what is in our heart, what's in our resonance, that we don't, that we don't, what's the right word for this? I don't want to say give over or give in to the shadow, but you, because whatever you do and however you get through this is your game. It's
Hmm.
totally cool however you get through this, but if you know that you're in the shadow,
Yeah.
will you have more power to get through the shadow, right? If you know that
Yeah.
you're in this,
Totally.
right?
100%.
Yeah,
I'm like absolutely milking it. like,
yeah,
I'm trying to like just be like, well, let's like just live my best life. Like not milk it, but like just be like, okay, like what can I do that um this like I don't know, like working from home. Like right now I'm from Alberta, I'm in BC, I'm working from home. I'm
yeah. I mean, there's always gifts. There is always opportunity, and you know, one of the things I deeply, deeply believe to be an absolute truth in this experience that we're going through right now is that we're not here to suffer and we're not here to struggle. I believe that with
I
every
love
ounce of
that.
my beingness. I really believe that. I know that to be truth. And the only thing that creates suffering and struggle is our limiting beliefs, our
I love that.
programming, our trauma, right? And so if you know that everything in front of you is presented to you by a higher aspect of you, and not to harm you or not to pull you down, but to catapult you into new ways of being, right? Where you will be able to step into new aspects of yourself and have things that you didn't have before in terms of more abundance, joy, peace, love. If you hold that knowingness, then that's what will be presented to you. And that is how the universe works. That is how consciousness works. That is how the human experience works. It's always worked that way. Always.
I I have all these like not all these, but like sometimes when you're not on live, I'm like, if I were to ever get picked, like what would I ask kind of thing. But it's funny because this is the way you work and it's beautiful. But like I have all these things, but you're answering them as I haven't even asked them, you know?
I
And
love it.
that's the gift that you are as a teacher. Like, and I know that that's happening for millions and whatever, like hundreds of other people.
I love that.
Yeah,
That's
it's
awesome.
super cool.
Well, it's really good to connect with you. It's
Thank you. Thank you
it's
so much.
I think you gifted a lot of people that are going to watch this and that are watching this to just that it's okay to feel all this, you know, and that there's a lot of people in the world that might not be jumping and skipping around right now, and that's okay.
Yeah, yeah,
So I
yeah,
think that's really important.
yeah, totally. However
Yeah,
we're in this, it's okay. Um, it's all good.
we're in this together.
Yeah,
We're in it
absolutely.
together.
Yeah, I'm
All
so
right, my love.
grateful.
Well, did you want to ask anything in specifically before we go?
I do actually, because I actually don't. I don't have solid ones, and that's when I know I'm not getting picked is because I don't. But I had one yesterday that's solid, a question. So if you wouldn't mind,
Yeah, go for
and
it.
I guess it is more personal experience, but maybe it'll resonate with others. Okay, so I okay, so I smoke weed, which is like, I don't know if that's like whatever, something you need to heal or not. I'm just whatever. That's where I am today. And and it's not just in regards and related to smoking weed, but there is sometimes where I go into these aspects where I'm in a reality and then like this paranoia or this fear comes of this very extreme situation of um like I guess yeah, I don't know if I should explain more specifically what this relates to so you can get it, but like, you know, like I'm meeting new people and I meet this person and all la di da, and then all of a sudden I think, well, what if they're a rapist or a murderer, or like these very extreme, like, um, kind of like paranoia, and like more to do like it could be realistic, you don't know, and even this is a good one, like at work. I'm actually doing quite well, and like I'm myself, I bring my light and people love that, and it's gotten me like, it's good. But literally overnight I will be like, I'm getting fired, this is all about me, I'm getting fired, they're having this meeting to show me that I need to do these courses because, you know, and that's why Loren booked this meeting, but you know what I mean. And then I talked to a coworker and she's like, oh my God, you just got an interview. Like, no, you're doing well. Like, don't worry. I think everyone's feeling this way. Like, but I'm convinced for like 24 hours. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know if
Do
this
you
changes.
feel that these are things you're feeling after you smoke?
Yeah, like I would like smoke and then I would feel that from a conversation I'm having or an email I read.
Okay.
And then I'll go to sleep or whatever. And then the next day I'll be sober, I guess.
Yeah.
And
Uh-huh.
then but I'll still feel that way and I'll still create that story, but it's like it's asinine, I don't know if that's the right word, but it's like it's ludicrous, but sometimes it's not,
Yeah.
sometimes it could be, sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm here to be the light, so maybe I'm, because I, and then I got a card that like, you know, I am, you know, strong light, and so I'm put into situations where there's more fear or, you know, things to be light for, so then I really do like, I'm like, am I in like, and I, oh, I guess
Well,
like
there's a difference between, let me tell you, a couple things. There's a difference between being sort of a strong light in the midst of darkness.
okay, yeah,
Because when you're a strong light in the midst of fear or aggression or, you know, darker sort of energies that you may feel, you don't feel persuaded by them. You don't feel impacted by them. You don't feel
okay,
like you're uh,
being
they're that you have that they have somehow infiltrated you or taken over, right? So
totally, yeah, good call.
if you are that's one way is I am here to be firm and sovereign and in my light, in my body, in my truth, and whatever comes and whatever I'm experiencing isn't going to have an impact on me. Okay, that's one way. When you are smoking weed and you are feeling these sort of they're sort of like fourth dimension, you're kind of playing in a fourth dimensional realm, which is where
Okay,
a lot of trickster energy is. Okay,
okay,
it's where a lot of your own sort of paranoia lies, and
totally,
that are like science fiction movies where they don't
yeah,
really play out,
totally,
but you can play in them, and they're like, why am I playing
100%,
with all these spooky ghosts? Right,
yeah,
you're in a fourth dimensional plane. It's there, it's because
okay,
it's the quantum field, but you're not designed to be there. You're not designed to tap into it. Weed will help you tap into that, and weed will keep you in that fourth dimensional realm
okay,
for a lot of people. And so now you're wasting energy, and it's excess energy. There's no point in playing in it. There's no point in being in it. And so if you are finding yourself smoking and playing in the astral realm, which is paranoia, and you know, these timelines that are pulling you into fear-based experiences, then you are it's not serving you, because it's only wasting energy that could be used to sort of kind of perfect your sovereignty in a way, right? So
yeah,
I would just look at the whole smoking weed, and I would just pay attention to how it's serving you, and is it serving you, and you know, one of the things that came through today that I do want to share, I might do a separate video on this, but right now, very unconsciously, we are finding ourselves moving into patterns that we've done in the past that we've been able to kind of control or navigate, whether it's a behavior or a limiting belief.
mm-hmm.
We've been in these patterns and behaviors we're pulling them up again, and we're doing them more and more frequently because we are unconsciously in an out of control sort of state in the world. And so it's not a conscious thing like, oh my God, I'm not feeling safe in the world. I'm not feeling in control any longer. So I'm going to do these behaviors that I used to do or that I've done in the past. I'm going to start doing them more and more so that I can feel in control or I can feel safe in my environment. And so this is not necessarily for you.
Yeah,
This is for anyone that's
totally.
listening. It's like, pay attention to behaviors and beliefs that you are pulling into your reality right now that may be pulling you out of sovereignty. Okay. Because when you're really sovereign, you don't have the desire and need to do anything that is going to pull you out of your most aligned and clear state. So drinking alcohol, smoking, doing all these things, they're not bad. Okay. There's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with them. But from a sovereign state, a really sovereign state, your beingness isn't going to ask you to do that, because what that does is it literally distracts you. These things that we do and put in our bodies and these behaviors that we do, even like excessive exercise, anything like that, it's pulling you out of an aligned state and sort of distracting you from being with just you, from being in here, from being sovereign. And it's scary. It's really scary to stop all external distractions and just sit with yourself. It's scary for me, I mean, one of the things that I started practicing today more than anything is presence. And what that means is that I have to just be right. I have to be right here. Like everything I say has to be present. Like I can't like distract myself by trying to make a phone call or, like this Instagram live, right? Like these things that I do. It was a total distraction. I'm not even joking.
Love it.
I'm like, oh, I'll go on
I'm
Instagram
grateful for
live.
your
I don't have to be,
distraction.
I don't have to be present. I'll do an Instagram live, right?
Oh, we're
So
being present. I'm being present.
yeah, we're totally present, but like absolute presence is really just sitting with you, and it's very frightening because we are, but it's also the greatest gift. So
Yeah.
just pay attention, like,
Yeah, no, thank you. I love that. And I'm so
yeah,
grateful I asked it because it actually took a lot of courage. Because I was like, on Lori Ladd, would I say that I smoke weed? Because it's like, like that's like it's. I know what you're saying, and I'm so grateful that you get to be the one to tell. Like, I'm so grateful to
there's
be talking to you
nothing.
right now.
Listen, like, there's nothing wrong with doing anything that we're doing, smoking, weed,
Totally.
doing like, any of that. It's like what we do, and especially right now when you're trying to survive the freaking, apocalypse. But you want to pay attention
Yeah.
to, what the energy that is happening when you are smoking,
Yeah.
because
Totally.
and also kind of like, wait, why am I smoking?
It's like I guess it was coping for sure in the past, and now I'm like, oh, it's just like a fun habit. I like it. I enjoy the
Yeah.
feeling. Like that's it. And I guess I was gonna ask because like my best friend and I like she like channels or what, it doesn't even matter. But best friend, um, uh, um, we've kind of like we've just kind of talked about it because we both smoke weed, and it's like, oh, but we're here to experience Earth and like alternative
Oh,
experiences. So we're like, why not like be on Earth and just like take it all in, and like it's fun. So like our perspective, like which could be truth too, right? Like
totally. Listen, it's all a
that could just
game.
be actually our like truth of like, yeah, we're kind of we like to have fun and we party and we're very spiritual too, and we do like
Yeah,
but like
totally. Yeah.
but yeah, like so. Anyway, it's just funny because I was gonna ask about that because we literally have talked about it many times. Because I'm on the fence. Like I'm like, oh, but
Yeah.
we're just like, why not experience it all?
I agree. I mean, listen, I mean, you're only in this human body for this human experience right here once, right?
Yeah.
And part of being in the human experience is all the physical experiences that you get to have.
Yeah.
And so, it's very true what you're saying from a higher perspective. It's like, what does it really matter at the end of the day?
Yeah.
But then when you go into this microscopic, I mean, you start zooming in, zooming in, zooming in, zooming in,
Yeah.
and you get to the present moment, right, of feeling those things that you feel, then it becomes
That
Okay, this
like
is
it's
the
not.
game. Yeah, this is
Yeah.
the game I'm playing. I'm in this
Yeah.
game, and is this how I want to feel? So then it becomes, so there's that macrocosmic zoom out of like, it's all a game. Who gives a hell? I'm going to have fun, right? Which is totally legit. Like, go for it. I agree 1,000%. But then you also have to zoom in and figure out, okay, but in my every now moment, like right now, do I want to be feeling that kind of paranoia? And so you got to kind of
Totally.
juggle
I
that piece.
the part that you said where it's like it's all energy and on an energetic level, like you're wasting energy, and then I think of the world, and then I think of where we're at, and then I think of my like job and my role and like to hold light, and I'm like that resonates with me. Like I love like when you I love when you talk about physics.
I know. I love it. I love it.
I
I
love
love
when you get
it.
into your physics stuff. I'm like, I literally like, yes. Because it's like, it's just truth. Like, like when you actually learn physics and physics, and you're like, that's so, I want to swear so bad. But sorry, I swear a
You
lot.
can swear. It literally all is just energy. And when you
Yeah,
understand
love
that
that.
how energy works, then everything makes sense, but a lot of people are like, um, here's the piece about physics and understanding that it's all energy. This is what's so insane about what we're experiencing and what we're in right now is we're in physicality. So it's like a mind fuck, right? Because you're like, all right, everything's energy, and I know how energy works, and I know how to manipulate it and move with flow, and I get how these multidimensional kind of realms work, but I'm also physical. I can't get out of physical. I can't leave physicality. Like,
Physicality.
I'm here, right?
Yeah.
And so then you have to understand the laws of of energy in physicality, right?
Yeah,
And you have to understand how free will works. You have to understand how sovereignty works. You have to understand how the physical body works, right?
totally.
If you don't understand how the physical body works, which most of us don't,
Yeah,
uh, then we're walking around with our heads cut off saying everyone's doing all these things to me. It's like,
yeah,
no one's actually doing anything to you. You just don't understand how your body works yet, right? So when we start learning all these things, it's everything's a juggling act, right? Even what you said about smoking weed and having a really good time, but then also not wanting to be paranoid, right? It's all a juggling act. It's not black or white. It's not like, oh, I'm only going to be looking at life as physics and energy. It's like, bullshit. You're going to go do this, and you're going to pay taxes, and you're going to, no, don't, why are you lying to yourself, right?
yeah,
You're also a physical human. You're in a physicality. You're a human. You have a name, right? Like,
yeah,
you're going through a traumatic evolution right now. So this is all about juggling everything, allowing everything. That's the quantum field, is allowing everything. We like to be like, oh, no, 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 it's got to be like this, and it's in a box, and this is what you do, and this is what it looks
how it
like, and
gets
this
done.
is how you be. If you
Yeah,
are this, then this is how you're supposed to be, okay? And please don't move out of that box. And it's like, get the box out of my way. This is all quantum. This is everything in every now, and I get to choose and pick all the time, all the time, right? And so that's what you're doing. You're recognizing that you're in the quantum field. You're recognizing that you're an energetic being inside physicality. You can't get out of it. Can't get out of the shadow. Can't get out of the fact that you like smoking weed. It's just all choice. Now you get to choose. Do I want my energy to be in that space, or do I want my energy to be somewhere else? It's all choice now. And does my body like it? Does my body feel good? Does my body enjoy it? Ask yourself that when you start smoking weed. Go
yeah.
into your body and ask yourself, how does my body feel as I'm ingesting this? And does my body like it? Does my body enjoy it? Because your body will tell you, right? Your energy will tell you, your energetic field will tell you, your resonance will tell you,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so these are all things that we're learning right now. These are all things that we're being pummeled into, literally, like body slammed into resonance, body slammed into sovereignty, body slammed into understanding energy, body slammed into feeling now, feeling more than ever, body slamming into taking full responsibility for me. I can't blame anything on anyone anymore, including the government, including my governor, including
Yeah,
all of these people. If you start blaming everyone for everything that you're going through, good, my God, are you going to have a hell of a time getting through this,
yeah,
right?
totally.
So it's like radical self-responsibility as well is massive.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Um,
tangent.
I love that tangent. All I was gonna say is when you're done writing your book, can you please create a course that is like the physics quantum and spirituality, because you were just explaining how, and you're probably already doing it, but like, or maybe not, but I would love that if you could put together like, this is sovereignty, these are all these things that we understand on a spiritual level, and this is how it ties into the physics and the physical level. That would be so cool, because as you're explaining this, I'm like, I get it, but I've actually never seen it, like, you know, like I pick up
Yeah,
things, so
I do
that would be
know.
cool.
Yeah, I think the book is written, the book's being edited one last time. Um, so it'll be out in the beginning of 2022. So
Will the book have that stuff?
the book is really out there.
I'm
It's
so excited, Lori. I'm
yeah,
so
the book.
excited. I can't wait. Oh my god. I mean, I'm like not typically a fangirl of anything, and especially like books, like whatever. And I'm like, I'm so gonna be a fangirl. I will totally try and get it first.
Yeah, the book is gonna is a doozy. It's a lot, and but it's also really fascinating, and it describes how this whole thing was created from an energetic level. Like, how did the earth, because it didn't come from the Big Bang, and it didn't come from
Oh,
it didn't come from evolution, like we're like, you come from a,
I get
a,
the
a little
evolution part.
thing in the
Yeah,
ocean.
yeah. Evolution, no.
So yeah, and it's also not really from the Big Bang. So it's interesting how they describe they give us they it makes sense when you read it, because you're like, oh, that totally makes sense, but we've never been taught it before. So it's about how the earth was designed, and how all of this has been created, and why, how the physical body was designed, why the physical body was designed the way it was designed, and our own evolutionary process. And that what we're in right now is just another chapter of this human evolutionary process that we've been in for millions of years. So there's nothing unique about what we're going through, right?
Yeah,
At all. It's just that we've never had to go from a lower state to a higher state. We've gone from a higher state to a lower state. Now we're going from a lower state back up to a higher
I
state.
see.
So it's a lot more challenging, very challenging, to go from a lower state back into a higher state. Um, but yeah, I think the book is complex, and it doesn't I break it down to a lot, to very simple concepts, but what you're asking is something that would be really beneficial after people read it. Yeah, kind of tying it all together, like, okay, I understand all this, but how does that
How
work
does it
for me
work?
now?
Yeah.
Yeah, like
How does it
how
actually
can I
work?
actually, like, yeah, what do I do with all this now?
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
Yeah,
totally. That would be
yeah,
so cool. Book,
yeah,
course,
like, what can I
whatever.
do with that? Yeah, because sovereignty is complex as well. It's very simple, but it's complex and layered. It's layered. Sovereignty is layered. Presence is layered. Presence is layered. Even though it's very simple, there's layers to presence. So it's like a puzzle that the human starts to crack open presence, or they crack open sovereignty, and
Oh,
then you dive deeper into it. Once you start to crack open and step into sovereignty, crack open, step into presence, then you realize, oh shit, this is deep. I got to go another level. I got to go another level. I got to go another level. Like, it
crazy.
doesn't end. It's none of it. It doesn't end. And so it's fascinating. But it's our true state of being.
Crazy.
It's our true state of being.
I didn't realize
Um,
that there was the layers of presence.
oh my
And
God. Yeah. Because, okay, so if you think about presence, first of all, most of us haven't really ever experienced absolute presence. And so the first thing is, can you feel presence? And presence is when you are literally like right now, if we did absolutely nothing, that's presence. It's the no space. It's nothingness. It just is. And you're completely in you, right? Like, I'm talking, so I'm not actually fully in presence. But if you just sit in presence for a moment, everything goes away. Everything. It dissolves. It combusts. And so being in that state is almost impossible in this human life. We have to go and make plans. We have to go to work. We have to do these things. We have to, we live. And so the layering of presence is, okay, So I know that that's what presence feels like. That place of where everything dissolves and it kind of combusts back into my beingness. It's like it implodes all back within me. Then you start doing these baby steps of, okay, you start to think to yourself, how can I stay present with that feeling as often as I can throughout my day? So for instance, I'm going to go get my Starbucks in the morning. Okay. I'm already like thinking, yeah, I'm like going to get my Starbucks, but I know that when I'm in the car, I can be present. So I practice that presence in the car. Right. And then I think about like, okay, how often am I now pulling myself out and thinking about all these things I have to do? Oh, there it goes. There I go. There I go. It happens every day, all day long. That's what we're doing. Yeah. Right. And so then you start saying to yourself, okay, this Phil Good and I were having this conversation last night. It's like, okay, so what conversation needs to happen? Do I need to have this conversation? Do I need to say these things to this person? Do I need to have this conversation? Right. Do I need to share what I'm about to share? Right. Do I need, what is absolutely necessary right here, right now? So you start kind of pulling yourself back in over and over and over again. And it's like, oh my God, are you telling me that I have to be with me more and more and more? Yeah. Presence is like, so as you start dripping yourself deeper into presence, you start dissolving all of the external. But you figure out a way to do it as you still live your life. Again, this is that juggling act, right? Of I'm a human, Lori. I got a life. It's like, of course, go do your life. How present can you be in that? When you're sitting with someone that's not present, can you be present? Right? Can you just be with them?
Children make it easier.
Children make it very easy. That's why when you're with children, you're everything. You're not consumed by anything. You're in the now. Because children are only in the now. When you're with animals, you're only in the now. Animals take away everything, when you're in nature. Well, sometimes you're in the now. A lot of times you're in your head, but.
I'm in my head. Like, that's what this is like. I'm still so in my head.
Yeah, most of us are.
It's constantly going.
Yeah.
So but even though but it's
the key is that you pay attention to how often you're in your head. I'm in my head 17,652 times, whatever. But you're paying attention to how often you're in your head.
Yeah.
And that allows you to then choose. Do I want to just be in a presence right now? And the way you just drop into presence is like, I'm just going to choose to drop into presence. Okay, let's drop into presence. Boom.
Question. Can you be in presence and work like on a computer? Or when you're doing those sorts of things? Like, I get the car one. I love that. I'm actually looking forward to driving my car now because I'm like, sweet, that's going to be awesome.
It's a good question. I mean, you can practice being more present, which is awareness, which is observation, which is beingness, right? So when you're on the computer and you're doing your work, you can drop into a deeper state of presence by focusing on the right here, right now of what you're doing, right? And so it's almost like you take the lens and you amplify the lens of what you're doing. So, and you slow everything down. So you slow everything down and you amplify it all. So you're acutely aware of every single thing you're doing on that computer. Every letter every word, every feeling, that is moving deeper into a presence.
Okay.
When you're doing things, right? So you turn the microscope deeper. You just like turn it up more.
Zoom in. You zoom in. Yeah, you zoom in to this task is all I'm saving this picture. Yeah.
You zoom it in. And then you feel, right? So as you zoom in, you also want to pay acute attention to what you're feeling, because that is your resonance. And that is where you will find freedom and choice, because in resonance, you are truly following your highest potential. So when you write an email or you respond to someone,
Totally. 100%.
right?
Yeah.
If you're in
Yeah.
absolute resonance, you're not going to say one single word that is out of alignment.
Totally. I totally like that. Totally feel that. Not that I feel
Yeah.
it all the time, but I can totally feel the difference of like
Yeah.
when I'm writing an
Absolute
email in
presence.
presence
Yeah.
versus getting it done. Oh,
Yes. And
I get
and
it
even
done a
in
lot.
even in like when you respond to text messaging, or when you want to comment on someone's post that you can't stand, right? You want to give them a piece of your mind or whatever, right? If you're in presence, most likely you actually won't. If you're somebody that's like, I'm going to give her a piece of my mind, if you're actually in presence
Yeah.
and in an aligned sovereign state, most likely you won't write what you want to write, right?
Yeah.
Because you're writing it because you're triggered.
Yeah.
And being triggered is not presence, which is fine. We have to be triggered because that's how we heal trauma.
Yeah.
So trigger is great. But when you're in an absolute present and aligned state, everything comes from your resonance, from what is your absolute highest potential.
Yeah.
And every word. And so then you become a completely authentic. You're raw, vulnerable, authentic without even really trying to or practicing. It just becomes
Yeah.
natural.
Yeah. Totally. I do like, sorry, you're talking that I do have a question in regards. Is that okay?
Yeah, one more, and
Okay.
then I'm going to go. This was
Okay.
fun.
Totally. Thank you so much. Oh my God. This
I
is
loved
amazing.
it.
I love this too. I'm so like, you have no idea. Like I found girl screaming inside.
Yeah.
Uh, so triggering, um, like I love that it's an opportunity and you were just talking about that, but like I got, I've like, I've been triggered recently that I'm like, okay, it's pointing me in direction. It's an opportunity to heal this. The healing part, I know you've talked about it. So, but like the healing part, it's not necessarily going back to that moment in childhood. It's just like I sit and I see it and then I keep moving and it'll just, or is there like,
Give me an
like how do I
example. Give
know?
me an example of the trigger.
I'm working on a farm right now, an oyster farm, and the person I'm working with, we were spending quite a bit of time together on boats, and it felt like working at the farm with my dad. And there's a huge ego involved with farming, and there's a huge ego involved with like getting things done and getting them done a certain way, or like it totally like working with him on the weekend completely triggered me. Like I felt like I was at the farm working with my dad and like just the energy of like how I'm being told to do something or whatever it may be.
So what did the trigger make you feel first? What was the initial feeling? What was the initial hit?
The initial hit, I guess, feeling is, well, for
Usually it's a
I guess
knee-jerk
not worthy.
reaction.
Not, yeah, so like I guess like I go into like not worthy, um uh stunned. Like I can get triggered and not react now, but there's just this like there's that kind of like yucky feeling, or and then I start like I was starting to get triggered throughout the day, like it was happening multiple times and I knew that. And then I just uh I started to get judgmental. Like I started to be like, well, he should be doing it this way. And I don't know. Am I explaining what you're asking
Yeah, I
for?
mean,
Like,
so were you feeling like so the deeper kind of, first of all, so there's layers to the trigger. So the first piece about triggering is the first layer to triggering is a knee-jerk reaction. Fuck you. You can't
yeah,
control me. You can't tell me what to do.
I
You're
don't do that.
annoying,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that's the first sort of layer of that.
Yeah.
Okay? You project it back onto them. That's how you know it's a trigger. The second layer to a trigger is, what's the limiting, what limiting belief am I holding right now about myself? What's the limiting belief that I'm holding? I'm not worthy. I
Yeah.
don't deserve to
That's
be,
it.
I don't
I'm
deserve
not good
to
enough. I
I
can't
don't
do
deserve to
it.
be, I don't deserve to be heard.
Yeah.
I don't
I
deserve to be
can't.
seen,
Yeah.
right? And then when the third layer is the feeling. Okay, the
Okay.
third layer is there's a feeling underneath that limiting belief, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's hard sometimes to get to that feeling of the feeling of not being worthy, the feeling of there's something wrong with me, that there's a guttural sort of feeling that you'll start to have, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if you don't
I feel
necessarily
that.
have that feeling, it's okay. But what you want to do is you want to recognize those three layers, the three
Okay.
kind of layers to the trigger. You
Yeah.
want to, it's obviously not about that individual. We know that. We're
Yeah.
good. It
Yeah.
has nothing to do with that individual. And then what you want to look at is, okay, this is an opportunity. At any time you feel that uncomfortableness of like you're being
Pushed, or like
yeah,
your
you're just
buttons are
being
getting
like,
pushed. You're
yeah,
like,
and
ah.
your skin is crawling,
Yes.
right? You're
Yes.
like, oh,
Totally.
this is a growth opportunity. I hate this.
Yeah. I'm like,
I
oh.
hate it, right? Then what you want to do is you want to this is the opportunity just to choose. So you don't
Okay.
necessarily have to go back to the age of 5 when the initial kind of trauma happened. If you know the initial trauma, like, oh, this is from when my dad was telling me all these things from the age of freaking 1 to 17,
Yeah.
you're still going to have to come back to this step, which is, do you get to now choose? Okay, you get to
Okay.
choose. You choose whether you want to continue. First of all, it's a limiting belief. You choose to understand that it's a limiting belief. It's not who you are.
Okay. Yes.
It's a limiting belief. It's not who I am. You have to see that. You have to understand that.
Yeah.
You have to hold that. And then you actually have to begin to choose whether you want to continue to
Mm.
hold that limiting belief in your reality, or if you want to lovingly and compassionately give yourself a hug for having that limiting belief for the length of time that you've had that limiting belief, and then pick it up and put it to the side. Every time I have limiting beliefs around myself, right, and I see these limiting beliefs and they're really ingrained in me, it can take a while for me to say, wait a second, this is a limiting belief. This isn't actually me. Like, I'm actually not, I actually can be seen for all of who I am. I can actually be seen for all of who I am. It's okay for me to be seen for all of who I am. What's the limiting belief that I have? That I'm not worthy of being seen for who I am, that I'm not worthy of being all of me in front of people. Okay, wow, Lori, do I want to hold that limiting belief? No, but it's ingrained in me. It's in me and it's been in me for a really long time. Okay, so now what you're going to do, Lori, is you're going to recognize every single time you start to feel a little twinge of that limiting belief controlling your behaviors,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to recognize that limiting belief and you're going to flip the coin on that limiting belief. You're going to force yourself to do the opposite. So that's where the growth comes, right? We're used to doing what the limiting belief tells us to do, which is coward, which is either fight back or coward,
Power,
get
say
quiet,
sorry. Yeah.
not
That's
speak up, right? You kind of,
totally.
and you know that that's not you,
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
but it's the
Totally.
comfortable thing.
Yeah.
So you have to flip the script and you have to start to do, you have to train yourself to do the opposite, which would be, I'm going to speak my truth lovingly. I'm going to actually allow myself to be in this uncomfortable vibe between the two of us and be
Mm-hmm.
all of me, right?
Okay.
I'm not
Yeah.
going to, you have to pay
Minimize.
attention. You have to know what your program behavior is.
Okay.
And then you have to choose to do the opposite. You
Okay.
have to be
Yeah.
so conscious of this
Yeah.
because this is how it's literally like a muscle that you're training.
Yeah.
Because when we are traumatized from a very young age, it's so unconscious that we have these behaviors connected to the limiting beliefs that are connected to the trauma that are so deep in us that we don't even realize that it's a programmed behavior. And so we just do it so naturally. And so again, you want to recognize, okay, there's a trigger coming. This is a familiar trigger. I want to tell him to go screw off, or I want to whatever. Or now I'm feeling these limiting beliefs of I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I can't speak my truth. Now I'm watching that I usually go quiet, I usually hide, I usually walk away, I usually just agree, whatever that is.
Mm-hmm.
And then you
Mm-hmm.
say, this is not who I am. And this is not who I was designed to be.
Yeah.
And this is connected to trauma. Again, you don't even need to go back to the trauma. As long as you're in the now moment deciding to change and choose to change the limiting belief and the behavior that's connected to that limiting belief. And so it's you just start flipping the coin, flipping the script every single time you change you force yourself to do the behavior that you've never done before. And that's how you change. That's how you dissolve the trigger. That's how you dissolve the trauma, right? If you can feel deeply that trauma, like maybe when you go home, it'll rise up a little bit. You can journal about it. I mean, it's good to get that feeling. That's what's actually in the trauma, meaning The trauma is the actual feeling. And so there's layer, you want to imagine like a trauma as like a dense rock in your body. Okay. And that trauma holds the emotion, the feeling, and it holds the limiting beliefs, and it holds the behaviors. So it's easy for us to pull out the behavior, and it's easy for us to pull out the limiting belief. It's a lot harder to get straight to that feeling. It's very difficult at times. So that's why we keep getting triggered, or we keep having that same limiting belief or that same behavior come up over, because we haven't gotten to the core, the
like
core emotion. Yeah, the core feeling. And usually when you tap into a core feeling or emotion within a trauma, it's gut wrenching. It will drop you to your knees. And so sometimes it can take baby steps to really feel it. And when you do feel that trauma, you will find yourself connecting to an age of you, whether you realize it or conscious of it or not, of when that actual trauma happened. So you might close your eyes and be in the shower and be kind of curled over out of nowhere, like out of the blue.
Yeah.
This dude didn't even trigger you, right? You're having like a totally normal day, and the next thing you know, you're curled in your shower, like curled over, and you've got this guttural like pain in your belly from feeling, and you're kind of recognizing yourself at the age of 7, right? You're like, what the hell is this? And that's just like the trauma from that you deciding that you're not going to do that behavior and that limiting belief 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Is now allowing that feeling of the trauma, right? So that's why it's so important to not judge. That's why it's so important to not attach to what's going on, because again, from a physics point of view, from an energy point of view, it's not going to make sense to you. You're going to want it very linear. Like, oh no, I just had the trigger, and then I had this, and then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this. And it doesn't work that way with energy, especially if it's a trauma that's really heavily packed in. It's going to take a while. Right. And so people are like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm not doing something right because I'm having the same triggers, or I'm having the same limiting beliefs, I'm having the same behaviors. It's like, throw the judgment out the door.
Yeah.
You know, throw it out the door. Yeah. But for you, I would really pay attention to, because it doesn't just come up with this individual. It probably comes up in other areas of your life as well. So just pay attention to, oh, here it comes, because it can be subtle, even like at the grocery store. It can be very subtle when it comes in. And then you want to really force yourself to do the opposite behavior of the normal programmed behavior. And then you start training yourself. And then the next thing you know, you're no longer being triggered. The limiting belief is gone. There's a new behavior that you have, and you are feeling deeply into that trauma, and the trauma dissolves.
Cool. Amazing. Thank you for explaining the layers. I didn't understand that.
Yeah.
You know, I just thought like, oh, I'm triggered. Oh, opportunity. Oh, then I heal. You know, like not that like it can happen in steps, and it's gradual, and it's like as you work on it, but it's more just having to relearn a behavior, I guess, is like, and that takes time.
Yeah. And letting go of limiting beliefs. And yeah, it can happen overnight if you choose for it to happen overnight. It can happen overnight. But typically my experience with trauma and triggers and limiting beliefs and behaviors that I don't want to have, typically it's a process.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, my love. It was so great chatting with you. I loved it.
I loved it too. Thank you so much.
Thanks for being here with us.
Yeah,
Take care.
thank you. I'm part of your Patreon community too.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Aww,
yeah. So
thanks for being with us there.
Yeah, I'm grateful. I wish I could. I wish I could attend more of them live recently, but September will be better. But August was hard. But yeah. I'm looking forward to connecting with you.
I love it. So, that's awesome. Thanks.
Yeah.
All right,
thank you for the chat. I love you so much. You've been helping me like everyone else for the last couple of years. So thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Okay, have a wonderful Saturday. Bye.
Bye. All right. Okay, you guys. Well, that is it. I'm going to go. I'll save this on my Instagram, and I'll also put it up on Facebook and on YouTube. I love you guys so much. Be really gentle with yourselves. Take care of yourself. Be gentle with other humans. Be very gentle with other humans. We're all going through this together as one human collective. So be good to you. Be good to others. I love you. Mwah.